Barbara Dzur was born and raised in Medina County. Proud graduate of Highland Schools, she holds a Bachelor of Science in English Education and Psychology from Muskingum University and a master's degree in Guidance and Counseling from Kent State University. While at Muskingum, she was tapped for Sigma Tau Delta, the International English Honor Society. Her career in education brought her back to Highland High School to serve as a guidance counselor and then to the opening of the Medina County Career Center, where she worked as a counselor and district administrator. Barbara moved on from education to the field of economic development as she became the first executive director of the Brunswick Area Chamber of Commerce and then the assistant director of Medina County Economic Development Corporation. These experiences led her to the position of Director of Workforce Development for Medina County. Here she had the honor of opening the first Workforce Development Center. In 2001, she joined the City of Medina as the Grants Administrator and Economic Development Coordinator. In 2008, when the bottom was about to fall out of the commercial real estate field, Troy Gersbacher talked her into joining the staff of Gersbacher Real Estate Group as the Marketing Director. Fortunately for everyone, commercial real estate rebounded, but the call of economic development, or maybe it was the call of Kimberly Marshall, took Barbara back to the City of Medina, where she currently works in economic development and marketing. Barbara's work experiences and varied interests led the way for her to become very active in the community. She's a founding board member of Leadership Medina County, the Medina County Women's Endowment Fund, and the Trinity Rose Foundation. She's a graduate of Leadership Medina County, served as the board secretary, program chair, and now sits on the Fund Development Committee. She's also a graduate of Leadership Ohio, and she served on their board as well. Barbara was on the board of Medina Area Chamber of Commerce, 3 times as chair of the Hall of Fame Committee, and currently sits on the Business Advocacy Committee. She was the Chamber's appointment to the Main Street Medina Board and has even worked twice as Main Street Medina's interim director, and she's very glad that Matt is back. She's also served on the boards for Medina County Historical Society, the Medina County Performing Arts Center Foundation, United Way of Medina County, where she served and chaired Taste of Medina for 7 years, Medina County University Center Task Force, Medina County Community Fund, and the Highland Schools Foundation Board. She was also on the boards and served as president of the Medina County District Library and the Medina County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Barbara has been recognized for her work and her community involvement by receiving the Leadership Medina County's Leadership in Public Service Award and the Medina County Economic Development Corporation's Corporate Citizen Award and the Northeast Ohio Women's Network Founders Award. She was the first woman in Medina County to receive the Athena International Leadership Award, and in 2017 was the only woman in the inaugural class of inductees into the newly formed Highland Schools Hall of Fame. Barbara has 1 daughter, Heidi, and she counts Heidi as her greatest achievement. Now, Heidi and I went to high school together about 30 years ago at Medina High. Heidi's younger than I, though. And I remember Heidi, she had a beautiful voice, which I did not. She was in choir, show choir, concert choir, and all that. And in all those years, I don't think I ever got to meet Barbara. So after college, I moved back to Medina County, got married and settled in Hinkley, and I would read my Medina Gazette every day. And if there was anything going on, I would see this name, Barbara Dzur. It was everywhere. And I kept thinking, who is this woman? I became fascinated by this Barbara Dzur. So about 10 years ago, Dan Hostetler asked me to join the board of the Medina County Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I'd been on the board before, and Dan was kind of telling me some things about the board, and things had changed. And he said, and my board president is Barbara Dzur, and I said, I'm in. I was finally going to meet Barbara Dzur. And I'll never forget the first meeting that we had, although I'm sure it wasn't as memorable for Barbara. But it was in June 2008, 10 years ago this month. And we arrived at Mapleside, and it was a morning meeting. I grabbed a cup of coffee, and I sat down in anticipation. And Barbara came in just as the meeting was getting ready to start, impeccably dressed, as Barbara always is. And as soon as she sat down, out of the heavens came this tall glass of iced tea. It was the most fascinating thing I'd ever seen. And for those of you that know Barbara, she loves her iced tea. And most of the waiters and waitresses in Medina have been trained to deliver Barbara her iced tea. Sometimes if you go to lunch or dinner with Barbara, the iced tea comes before you get your menu. So after that meeting, if I was in an event or anything, I always tried to sit with Barbara or spend some time with her. I always enjoy her company. She has an elegance, a great sense of humor, and more knowledge of the county history than most. Maybe not Don Simmons, but pretty close. She's always my go-to when I have questions about building histories or who's who or what's going on in the county. And while we were working at Gershbacher Real Estate Group together, Barbara, who's a former English teacher, and I, who was raised by an English teacher, shared our passion for grammar and punctuation and spelling. And if you've ever had Barbara proofread anything, you know how good she is. But besides iced tea grammar, Barbara champions not only the city of Medina, but the county. She champions small business, she champions economic development, she champions numerous nonprofits like the Trinity Rose Foundation, Women's Endowment Fund, but most importantly for me, she champions women's leadership in Medina County. Many of the women here in the room have either been mentored by or inspired by Barbara. I can say I'm honored to have her as one of my mentors, but I'm most honored to have her as a friend. It's my pleasure to introduce the Hall of Fame inductee, Barbara Dzur.
First of all, note to self, do not follow Tad Coleman. I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for this honor. Also, thank you to the Chamber staff, Larry Johns, wherever he is with his camera, and the Hall of Fame Committee for putting on a memorable evening. I want to congratulate my fellow inductees, including the remarkable Friends of the Medina Cemetery. Saw them in action a couple of weeks ago, and it was truly amazing. I had the pleasure of researching and writing all of the intros that you've heard, sort of. The people doing the introduction are allowed to add 2 minutes, so I'm not going to tell you which part was mine and which part was someone else's, but they are all amazing, and needless to say, I'm truly in awe of their accomplishments, their leadership, and their service to the greater Medina community. Being only the 6th woman to be inducted into the Hall of Fame is a great honor. Although I would challenge the committee next time, more women. I'm actually not really sure how I got included with this group. First of all, I've never owned my own business, never served as president or CEO of a company, never been at a job for 44 years, and I've never worked for Tad Coleman. You're going to understand that by the time we finish the evening. I have never been gifted a large amount of money, but I'm hopeful that I still money. And I don't play golf, so I'm not sure how I got here. I have, however, been very fortunate to know some great standard bearers that I tried to emulate. I think some of them are here this evening. I don't want to mention all their names, but certainly my mentor, Chuck Hawley. Chuck, thank you. Don Simmons, who does know much more about the county than I do. Bert Humble, whose leadership twice as chairman of the board for the chamber. That's a pretty good honor. And Jim Gershbacher. All of these gentlemen are previous award inductees, and they have certainly set the bar with their leadership and volunteer service and genuine caring for Medina. The problem with walking or trying to walk in the footsteps of these guys is they're like the Energizer Bunny. they never stop. They don't quit, so we just keep going. I want to thank my family for their patience and support, particularly my daughter Heidi. You've heard Heidi mention before. I became a single mom when Heidi was 5 years old, and I started dragging the poor child with me everywhere. She went to work with me. She became my helper at events. Heidi began her chamber experience as far back as the Chamber Oktoberfest. And she is still showing up to support me with my McDonald's iced tea 2 weeks ago when I volunteered for the Friends Civil War encampment. Heidi, I truly couldn't have gotten here without you. As I look back, I have to say that I've had the good fortune to be in the right place at the right time for a long time. I've been lucky to have been involved in the start of some exciting ventures such as leadership of Medina County and Main Street, Medina. And I've been blessed to have crossed paths with some amazing people like Rich and Stacy Bonnets, who took adversity and turned it into a gift to our community. I've had wonderful work experiences and love every one of them. There are too many names to mention, but please know that I am grateful to the many of you who from time to time have been right there beside me on this wonderful adventure. Thank you.